Well, hello. My name is AJ. I served my mission in the California Riverside Mission. We called it the best mission there was. Best in the West was our little tagline. And I loved my mission. It was something that has completely changed my life and has really been the most rewarding thing that I have done and the thing that I'm most grateful I ever did. Some background on me. I just got home from my mission in August of 2017. I transferred from Arizona State University to Brigham Young University. I am studying industrial design here at BYU, and I love it. I've always been kind of an artsy person, and it really fits my personality well. I'm from a small town in northern Nevada called Winnemucca, Nevada. If you've never heard of it, that's all right. Not many people have. It's about 8 hours north of Vegas. So to talk a little bit about what I did to prepare for my mission, I really feel like I was blessed to have amazing people in my life that the Lord knew would help me prepare for serving a mission. Number one, of course, was my parents. I have wonderful parents who were there, always setting a wonderful example for me. They never pushed me in a way that made me not want to go on a mission, but they also were very encouraging and let me know that that was something that they knew would bless my life, and that's something that they wanted for me. My parents are awesome. They are really good examples of people that lead and teach by living it. I don't ever remember my parents sitting down and telling me like, hey, this is what you need to do, this is how we do it. Instead, I just thought that was what everyone did because that's the way they did it. My dad is the most honest person alive. I can't remember a time when anyone in his life ever questioned whether he was telling the truth or not. And that really was impactful on me because I always knew that I could trust what my dad said. And that was something, like I said, I don't remember him ever sitting down and saying, hey, you need to be honest, you need to always tell the truth. But simply, he lived it. And my mom, I have always looked up to her for her fire for the gospel. She always made sure, no matter what we did, that we did a few things every day. One was that we prayed before we left the house. Before the first person left the house, we all said a family prayer. Before we ate any meal, we said a prayer together. When we were going to bed, we all said a prayer together. And she also made sure that we had family dinner together every day. And those little things that happened every day really helped me feel close to my family. Those things were really awesome. I also had some awesome experiences with them as far as going to the temple. My parents always set the temple as something that they were always striving to do. Every time we went to a town, we didn't have a temple in my hometown, but every time we went to a town where there was one, my parents made it very clear that we were going to the temple. My mom would always say, if you can't think of anything to get me for my birthday, let's just go to the temple together. And that was really impactful, and that was really something that pushed me to strive to stay worthy to go to the temple, because I knew at least once a year we would be taking a trip with my mom. And it was just great to have wonderful parents who were there, who were saying, this is what we want for you. This is something that has blessed our lives, meaning the church, in particular serving a mission that would lead to a life of church activity. And those are things that, like I said, that they knew would bless my life and that they wanted for me. I also have a wonderful brother who's very active. In total, I have 2 sisters and a brother. I was adopted. Sorry, I should have said that in the beginning, but I was adopted, and I am grateful that I was adopted into a wonderful family that has so strongly taken care of me, loved me. I was sealed to my parents and my family when I was 5 in the Chicago Temple. That was a really cool experience. I was young, but I remember it. But unfortunately, my 2 sisters aren't active, but my brother is very active, going back to my brother, and he and his wife are just wonderful examples to me of people that live the gospel and everything that they do. My brother is big into the arts. He, in particular, loves writing, and he loves like games and stuff like that. And it's cool how he realizes that that is his passion, and that it doesn't have to be something that drags people down. And so he is always trying to write books or design games and things like that that are really his way of leaving a positive mark in the world. Him and his wife serve so faithfully as Sunday school teachers for some kids in their ward, and he is probably the most devoted home teacher I've ever seen. And just those little things really show the kind of character he has. I'm really grateful for that. I'm grateful for my family's wonderful influence on me. As far as my other people that really influenced me and helped me, I think my young men's leaders were incredibly influential on me. We always did fun things growing up in a small town. We did a lot of things outdoors. We'd go camping a lot. We'd go backpacking. My personal favorite was we'd go shooting a ton. And one of my favorite young men's activities was going to shoot jackrabbits at one of the farms that was close to my hometown of Winnemucca, because the jackrabbits, well, also squirrels too, ground squirrels, because they would destroy the crops. And obviously, as a farmer, you want your crops to do well. So that was one of my favorite memories of that. And it was fun because even in those situations where we're camping out underneath the stars and we smell like smoke and gunpowder because we've been out playing all day and we're all dirty, I really saw that those people were good people and that they lived the gospel in every aspect of their lives, even in those situations. And that touched me a lot. I think the most influential person outside of my family, though, was my bishop. His name is Bishop Wadsworth. And I don't know, it just seemed like he came into my life right at the time that I needed him. I was kind of in an all-time low, I guess you could say, and he was there, and he picked me up and dusted me off and kind of asked what my goals were, what I wanted in life. And like I said, I really looked up to my parents, and I knew that they were there to help me, that they were there to show me the way. And he kind of said, okay, well, if you want to be like that, if you want what they want for you, if you want to make that your own desire, then what do we need to do to get you there? And I just love that, where he was like, hey, what do you want your life to be like in 10 years, in 20 years, in 50 years? What kind of dad do you want to be? What kind of husband do you want to be? What kind of family do you want to raise your kids in? And that really made me think, because up to that point I was just kind of like, oh yeah, doing my own thing, you know? But it made me think of what I truly did want, and if what I was doing at that time was leading me to that destination. And so I sat there in his office with him and kind of talked about my goals and ways that we could help me start on that path and prepare for that. And that was not the first time I remember feeling the Spirit, but one of the first times, and one of the times that I'll always remember, because I really realized that God wanted me to be active in His church, in Christ Church. He wanted me to have the same thing that my parents wanted for me, the same thing that my bishop wanted for me. And I knew at that moment that all started with a mission. I had grown up hearing missions were great, but I didn't have a testimony of that for myself. And I left that office that day realizing that no matter what happened in life, the thing that I needed to have as my ultimate goal for the coming years was to go on a mission. So I set out to do that, and I started working for that. I started praying and reading my scriptures, those primary answers. I had always gone to church, but never really taken it seriously. So I started paying attention in Sunday school and in church more. I made it a habit, or I tried to make it a habit, I should say, of reading my scriptures every day and making sure I prayed in the morning and at night. Those things really helped me. I really realized that setting that goal of going on a mission was indeed the thing that I needed to do. Flash forward a little bit, I decided that I didn't want to go on a mission right out of high school, so I applied to Arizona State University, and I was studying, at first I was studying engineering there. Like I said, I've always been kind of an artsy person. I love drawing and love building things. And so I found out about a program there called Industrial Design, and I jumped into that, and I absolutely loved it. And so if you ever want something designed, you can always look me up, but that's something that I really have a passion for, and I truly enjoy. I was at Arizona State for 2 years, and while I was there, I was very active in the YSA program. I loved the YSA program there. I had awesome leaders, great bishop and his counselors. They were great, awesome group of friends. I would say more than anything that just reaffirmed, just hanging out with active Latter-day Saints who are in a similar situation as me of being in college, being away from home, deciding whether or not they wanted to, some of them deciding whether or not they wanted to go on a mission and preparing for that, and then not conversely, but people who were on the other side of that, who had come home from a mission, kind of the struggles of coming home from a mission, and being in school, deciding who to marry, all of those things. It was cool being in that situation, or in a group of people that were all in kind of that same stage of life, figuring things out. And you got to see the people that did it really well and who were going to the temple, going to church, reading the scriptures, praying, involved in Institute, and to see how things just kind of worked out for them, versus people who unfortunately weren't doing some of those things and they struggled. It was really inspiring to see the people that overcame adversity. Maybe were in the group over here where they weren't doing what they needed to, but realized that that's not what they wanted, and change, and then start progressing. That really had an impact on me of what I needed to do daily to prepare for those goals that I had set with my bishop, the things that my parents had told me that they hoped for me, the things that I had prayed about and felt like I needed to do. So I was very involved with the YSA, and continued to stay involved with serving in the YSA, as well as attending Institute and making Institute really a priority. Even though it wasn't something where I received college credit for it, it took up time. As a college student, you're always tired, and it seems like there's always something more that you need to do. But taking that time to be involved in the YSA and to go to Institute really did help me a lot. So as far as preparing for a mission, I think that really, those are the things that were the most impactful. So I guess if I have any advice for you, it's to get to know your bishop, Become a friend because he wants to be your friend, and he wants the same thing that God wants for you, and that's to be active and happy and being able to serve others. If you do that, you're going to really find a lot of good advice, and you're going to be able to find ways to accomplish those goals that you have. I've seen that in my life, and it is awesome. Also, get involved in the YSA. Do everything you can, because you're going to meet great people, you're going to have a blast, but you're also going to grow spiritually, and you're going to meet people that will be your friends for the rest of your life, and they'll help you prepare for those things that you want to do as well. I would also say, stay close to your parents. I mean, I know everyone's relationship with their parent is different, and that's okay, but I'd say generally your parents want what's best for you and are people that are there that are going to support you and love you. And if you have strong and active parents, listen to them, because they're going to be people that will help you realize that going on a mission, staying active in the church, there's nothing more important than that. And if you don't have family that is active or strong in the church, I think it goes back to having a ward family, because obviously your ward family is strong and active in the church. And no one can replace parents, but they can provide that same support that you need, and they can help you with those challenges. Growing up is tough, but it's not impossible, and the Lord has provided us with those people that we need in our lives to be able to make it out successfully, and I'm grateful for that. Another thing that I think I failed to mention before that really helped me in preparing, this was something my mom did. She always, no matter where she was at, whether we were traveling, because we did a lot of traveling, or whatever it might be, she made it a priority to partake of the sacrament each Sunday. And I didn't understand that. To me, it was just like, oh, okay, well, sacrament, cool, church, we did it, now we can go home, if we were traveling or something like that, you know. But it touched me to realize that partaking of the bread and the water consistently each week had such a profound meaning to my mom. And I didn't understand it, but I did understand that it was something that I needed to come to understand later. And that had a really big influence, and I'll get into it later, on my mission, because it wasn't until my mission, actually towards the end of my mission, that I really realized why the sacrament was so important. As far as opening my mission call, well, I guess backstepping a little bit, I was in college, finishing up my last semester at Arizona State, and I had taken finals and everything, and then we had planned a vacation, and I was planning on going on my mission that summer. And since I wasn't going to be in the YSA, I had to go home, do my paperwork and everything like that. But we had also gotten a new bishop, and I mean, I knew the bishop from when I was growing up, but not as a bishop. And so it was kind of funny, just because I really felt like I just got done rushing to study and do projects and stuff like that in school, and swearing that I would never procrastinate anything again. And then I felt like I was almost in the same situation again with my mission paperwork, because it was like, oh man, I want to go, you know, in the next month or two, maybe 3 months, and I haven't even started my paperwork. So anyway, we got back from vacation, and I met with my bishop, I want to say within the same few days. I got all my paperwork done within like maybe a week, submitted it, got my call 2 weeks later, and I remember just feeling so anxious, so excited to know where I was going. I was completely 100% certain that I was going somewhere Spanish speaking. Like I said earlier, I was adopted, and my biological father is from Mexico, and I've just had some cool things happen in my life where it's become apparent that I will use Spanish. I don't know if it's appropriate to share in here, but in my patriarchal blessing in particular, it talks about Spanish in particular and using it to further the Lord's work. And so I was, like I said, 100% certain that I was going to be a Spanish-speaking missionary, whether it meant here in the U.S. or going foreign. I really wanted to go to like Peru or Chile or something like that. And so when my call finally came after what seemed like the longest 2 weeks of waiting ever and checking the mailbox 4 times a day, I opened it and it said, "Dear Elder Jackson, you're hereby called to serve as a missionary." I'm probably saying this wrong, but for a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You are hereby assigned to serve in the California Riverside Mission. And I kind of just, my heart sunk a little bit, honestly. I was like, California. Cool. Up to that point, I had gone to California a few times, and I was like, it's hot. There's a lot of crazy people there. It's kind of dirty. I didn't even know where Riverside was. My neighbor, he told me that he had grown up in Hemet, and that was within my mission boundaries. And I was like, oh, cool. But I think what really made me sad was that it said, it is expected that you will, well, no, I don't remember the exact wording, but it said, prepare to serve in the English language, to preach the gospel in the English language. And my heart sank because I was like, no, this, I knew it was right, so I can't say that, this is the wrong mission call for me. But I was a little disappointed that it wasn't what I had wanted. The more I found out about California, I was not quite as excited. I wasn't going to be close to the beach. I wasn't going to be close to Disneyland or any of the cool attractions like LA. I was going to be in the Inland Empire, and it was going to be hot, which is something I don't do well with. I'm a sweaty person. I'm always sweating, even in the winter. So I was like, oh man, I'm just going to be sweating in a collared shirt for 2 years. But the Spirit told me that that's exactly where I needed to go. And so even though maybe on the surface it wasn't my dream, it was exactly where I knew that God wanted me and what I needed to do. And I was just beyond excited to finally have a mission call, to be finally going on a mission after I went when I was 20. So after 20 years of singing, "I hope they call me on a mission," it was finally happening. And to know that I was worthy, that I had prepared myself and I had taken the steps necessary to be ready to go on a mission, that was rewarding, so rewarding, and such a good feeling. And that far outweighed all of those little kind of nitpicky things that I wasn't as excited about. I got a letter from my mission president kind of telling me the things to expect, and that completely changed my mood. I was so excited. I was like, oh man, like California is going to be an awesome adventure. It's so diverse. It's going to be a place where I can really kind of get out of, I'd been to Arizona State, which was it was in a big city, but I'd never really lived in a diverse place and to see all the different cultures and things like that. And so I was really excited. My mood completely changed. Kind of felt like Nephi when he prays to know if what his father had seen was true, and he received a testimony that it was. I knew for a fact that this is where the Lord wanted me, and I knew that I was going to have a blast. So I prepared. I left within, I want to say like 60 days of submitting my paperwork. So it was a pretty quick trip. Kind of a fun story real quick. When I got my endowments, let me back up a little bit more. I got my mission call on a Saturday, and then at the end of June, and that following week, we were planning on going to Carlsbad, California, to see my cousins and to spend time there for the 4th of July. And we're like, well, heck, we're going to be down in Southern California. We're going to be driving through my mission for vacation. And the San Diego Temple is one of the prettiest temples on earth. So let's go get my endowments while I'm there. So we did that, and while I was getting prepared, the temple president came out and talked to me. And he asked where I was serving my mission. I was like, oh, I'm actually going to go to Riverside. And he said, oh, no way. That's really cool. I have a son that's a stake president out there. I'm sure you'll meet him. And I'll get to that one in a sec, too. But that did happen.